Good morning. It's not really a good morning, but we'll say the greeting anyway. So what's up? Well, the answer is me. Much of the night. Somewhere around 2 a.m., I had a nightmare. I'm not going to go into the details of the nightmare, but it rattled me. And it rattled me for hours. I couldn't get back to sleep. It wound me up and got me into a state of anxiety, and couldn't shake it. I was lying there trying to do deep breathing exercises. That didn't help. I finally got up and went in the sofa for a while, and that didn't help a lot. Just generally it wasn't very pleasant. I did finally get back to sleep, but it throws your whole night off, and I have to say it's still bugging me a little bit. So it's not a good start to the week. In the last TU, I told you about the problem I was having with the Drobo taking an inordinately long period of time to boot. Now this is the weird part. After I shot that, you may have noticed in the sped up 30-second version, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I was trying to get my Zoom microphone on it so I could hear the drives, because according to the status monitor, nothing was happening, but something was clearly happening with one of the drives. And but there was, like I said, there was nothing in the status. Normally when it's rebuilding or when it's doing something, it very clearly tells you that it's doing so. But it wasn't, and yet something was happening. And after another 3 hours, I got an alert that popped up about, I don't know, it said drive problem, rebuilding drive. And I'm like, what? And I didn't even see it because 20 minutes later, I wasn't in the room. 20 minutes later, there was a similar alert saying, okay, everything's been fixed, rebuild is done, life's good, you can resume operations. And now it's no longer making that noise. So I'm thinking it was actually still doing the rebuild or doing a rebuild or something throughout the process, and it somehow got confused. And I don't have an answer for how that happened, but since then it's been operating normally. The only thing is we still have that one drive that has the warning on it, but again, according to Drobo, according to online, according to everything, it's nothing to worry about. It's not a failure of a important kind. It's just saying that there is some minor thing that has been alerted wrong with that drive. So I guess that's really all there is. I'll just keep an eye on it, and maybe next chance I find a good deal on drives, buy a new one, and just wait for it to need to be replaced. We've reached the break-in period on the new car. 1,000 miles. Woohoo! Bad assumptions. I hate bad assumptions. Good assumptions are awesome. Bad assumptions are bad. Anyway, I am at a conference today, a disaster preparedness, cyber terrorism, that sort of thing conference, which, are always exciting. And it's Wednesday, so normally I'm working at home. This is the day I normally schedule them to come out and do work on the house. That is, when I can get them to come out and do work on the house. That's the other story. So, 3 o'clock, which is where I normally get off work, I start getting frantic calls while I'm in the middle of this conference from the contractor, which I was sending to voicemail, but he just keeps calling and calling. And so he finally sends me a text message. Are you going to be home in 20 minutes? Because the glass contractor is coming out to install your window. Well, thank you for freaking arranging with that with me in advance. Which, that is another story that I'm thoroughly pissed off about. But anyway, luckily we were down to the final session, and I don't need to be present for it. We have another employee there, and so I'm close enough to the house I can get home in time to meet the glass contractor, because I want my house fixed. So I don't care that I have to bail out on the conference, but it irritates me nonetheless. This is fun. Who knew windows were so much fun? The comedy continues. They spend 45 minutes to an hour chipping out the, we'll call it putty, that held the broken windows in place. They were in with one of those Dremel reciprocating saws that vibrates instead of, and I mean, they were at it and at it and at it. To be fair, it's probably 60-year-old putty. That's not the word I'm looking for. Anyway, whatever's holding the windows in. And it finished. They were working on the window. They had me crank the window out so they could work on it. And then they came around to the door and they asked me to close the window. And I closed the window. And then they said, well, and they were still working on it. They said, when we're done, just don't do anything to it for 3 days. Don't wash it. Don't, whatever. Like I'm gonna wash it. Silly people. Anyway, and so, I backed away. I figured they'd come by and tell me when they were gone. And after a while, I came in here to see what was going on, and truck's gone, they're gone, everything's gone. Window's done. But not the best experience today. That's no warning, no scheduling, and then no departure notice. I don't know. Looks like the remnants of that hurricane are making their way towards us. Just a few seconds ago, clouds were cool to look at. Now they're just gray. Well, that was quick. We're driving by Michelle's high school. Looks like the kids are having fun. She doesn't get out for another 40 minutes, though. Just got home and walked in the door, and the house reeked. And I thought that it was sort of the smell like yesterday's Swiss steak. Maybe it had been left in the pot overnight and gone out. But no, Taz has had multiple accidents on the floor in the kitchen today. So thank goodness that it's nice outside. Stopped raining, but it's cool and windy, and I can open all the windows, because, oh boy, and then I gotta go clean it up, because unfortunately I got home first. Okay, 2 down, 1 to go. I couldn't find any clothespins big enough to close my nose. Alright, Let's do this. At least with that last one, you know, with the paper towels and stuff, there was something you could grab onto. Oh. Now I've got the floor covered with soap. I go back and do a little cleaning on the parts that had dried on. This is revolting, as I'm sure you know already. Hey, but I didn't put pictures. I considered it. Rain's nice. I told Michelle to take the bus home. Buses are safer. Street flooding, they're big, they're yellow. They've got professional commercial grade drivers on them. I'll just meet her at the bus stop. Hopefully I'll have recovered by then. You feeling, Taz? You feeling better? You feeling better today? Well, get your business out of the way before Mom lets you back in the house. Okay? Alright. Bit worried about Taz. I don't know. You know, they say a dog will stop eating the food they've eaten for years, but he's been eating the same food since we got him, so 7 years. Not sure how long. I'll have to go back and look and see how long it's been we've had him. And then just one day he stopped eating it, or it appeared like, you know, it's hard to tell because we would put him out with the food in the morning, and then we'd let him back in before we went to work, and the food would be gone. Some days he doesn't always eat it all, and then you let him out in the afternoon and he finishes it off. But there's suddenly one day it's like he just didn't eat any of it. But when we let him out in the afternoon, if you'd look, you'd see it was gone, but it could be the birds that were eating it. So don't know, but you know, he began to lose some weight and begging for a lot more scraps. So been getting him a little bit of canned food, which is just spoiling the heck out of him. And he wolfs that down. And then the last 2 days, well, not yesterday, but the 2 days prior to that, what I did was I was mixing his canned food with, because it just doesn't seem like it's enough, mixing it with the standard amount of the dry food that he would normally eat, and then he would eat it all down. And then yesterday he was clearly sick. I mean, stomach sick. Excuse me. And even after I let him out, you know, even though he had plenty of water, you know, there was around his mouth like he'd been vomiting, although I can't find any evidence of that. Just not looking good. But we couldn't get him into a vet last night, and won't be able to today, although he looks a lot better. But after he was ill last night, I gave him 2 more cans of food, and well, I gave him 1 can of food. He ate that right down. And then he was like practically chewing the plastic bowl. He was so hungry. So I gave him another one, and he wolfed that right down too. So I don't know. We left him out a lot last night. I don't see any evidence of any more problems. He was in all night. If he did anything, nobody told me, which is a good thing. And if I come home again today and it's another disaster, I'm just walking away and letting the house stink, and I'll let somebody else clean it up, because I can't do that 2 days in a row. That will not work.
The air is supposed to be clear the day after a storm, but that's not the case today. It's disgusting. Normally I would head straight home after work, but today I'm here in the park because I'm just going to wait it out here before I go pick up Michelle, rather than risk finding out what Taz has done in the house and have to clean it up. This is the moment none of us have been waiting for. I'm just getting home. I picked up Michelle on the way, and she's about to go in the house now. And the question is, what has Taz done on the floor today? I don't smell anything yet. I don't smell anything.
Good job, dog. Good job. Yeah, good job. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.